Sometimes a Star Citizen session doesn't go quite according to plan, something many of you who play the game regularly may be familiar with. It's part and parcel of playing a game that's in an alpha state where there are highs and lows. Rather than sidestep the lows, this video will showcase some of the challenges that sometimes occur and how that can impact gameplay. I'm Forrester, and this gameplay video shows an attempt to get out and about in the Hull C once again. A couple of parts of the video have been sped up to keep the overall length down, and they're clearly marked, but otherwise this is a complete uncut video. And it's important to add, Star Citizen is still a great game. For those who know what they're getting into, there are countless hours of fun to be had. But it's my hope that by showing more videos like this, it helps paint a realistic picture of where the game is at, and that from time to time things don't go according to plan. All of that said, let's get into it. And we start down at Lorville by claiming the ship. The goal for this session was to take out the Hull C and do some Hull C cargo trading to showcase for the channel. We'll move to Hangar 5 to collect it. The Hull C is not the smoothest of experiences anyway in Star Citizen at the moment. We know that since it was implemented there are some challenges that impact this ship more than others, and even when things work perfectly for the Hull C, the experience still takes a little bit longer than, for example, cargo trading with some of the big cargo haulers. Still, it's a nice opportunity to take this ship out and dust it off a little. Moreover, it's a nice opportunity to actually get aboard the Hull C in a slightly unusual way. Most times boarding the ship will be via the docking port, whereas this time, because it's planet side without any cargo aboard, we're getting aboard through the elevator. And I can never remember where this button is. There it is. It's quite easy to forget that the Hull C is capable of flying planetside when it's all retracted and with the landing gear out. So we'll move up to the cockpit and hop into the pilot's chair. So I said it in the introduction, I think we are going to encounter some challenges in this session. This is not to detract from the Star Citizen experience. In fact, I think it is the Star Citizen experience, which is 9 times out of 10 you might have a great time, and that 1 time out of 10 there might be something that just gets in the way. And I think it's important to be honest about that, you know, as much as the game works well a lot of the time there are challenges. So rather than sidestep those and paint a glossy picture with perfect, seamless gameplay videos on the channel, I thought actually why not show one of these sessions where there is a bit of a challenge and trying to navigate some of those. I guess that's a little bit of a spoiler warning perhaps. Very, very gingerly taking off in the Hull C, which is quite a large ship for a hangar like this. And of course, because the cockpit is right at the front, you get this view of the hangar as you're going up, which makes you feel very enclosed. But thankfully, nothing got dented, nothing got scratched, nothing got scraped. And we'll head back up into the skies of Hurston. There you are. A wonderful Hull C. Pretty good little ship this, if little is the right word. Beautiful. So, with enough of that, we're going to speed up to 12 times speed, and we're going to head up to Everest Harbour in orbit. So Everest is a place where we're able to load cargo on the Hull C, so I'll come into land, hopefully, without too much judgment of my landing approach. It wasn't too bad, I think. It was alright. It's curious, I do find with these ships, I tend to fly manually to get in close, and then switch to the auto land feature once I am in very close. It just seems to more reliably catch the docking clamps than kind of doing it manually. Look over my shoulder and see the docking clamps going in. That last little bit. There we go. Docking complete. As an aside, for those who've played Star Citizen for a long time, actually that's quite an exciting sequence from historical norms where you can take your spaceship up from the surface of the planet and head up to the space station and then dock at the space station. And I don't know, I'm thinking maybe 9 or 10 years ago that seemed incredible. So I've taken my helmet off at this point so that I'm ready to have some food and drink. My meter was running a little low. At this point I'm debating whether or not to store the ship to prevent potential stowaways. On the one hand, it's a lot more convenient to not store the ship, and on the other hand, if somebody does get aboard, it could be a bit of a pain. It's the one downside of the kind of docking port system, is it's very easy for a random person to make their way aboard. So this is very normal so far, just grabbing some burritos. Munching on the burritos. One of them disappeared to my inventory, I'll get it later. A minor bug, I would say. There it is. 3 burritos. Healthy meal. And then wash it down with a bit of water. I know this is like food and drink simulator right now, but again, in the spirit of showing what it's like, this is what it's like. You gotta eat and drink sometimes. And now that bottle has fallen down. You all saw it on video. I tried to put it in the bin. It fell away. It wouldn't let me pick it up again, so I'll not take that littering fine. Thank you very much. So I have decided to store the Hull C here. Just I saw people running around on Everest and I don't want to deal with that. I just don't want to deal with it. There may be some people out there who argue that's part and parcel of gameplay, is dealing with those people. I'm not one of those people. I get that it is a PvP game as well as it's a PvE game, and I do accept the risks that I'm taking by flying out that ship, but for me the risk shouldn't be that when you're leaving port there's somebody hidden aboard because the docking port mechanics don't correctly control who can jump aboard. Anyway, we bought some iron to fill up the Hull C. So that was 1.4 million Alpha UEC worth of iron. And that's very much why I didn't want to risk somebody being aboard. So we'll head back out and claim the ship and head out to it. Docking port 1, very quick to spawn in. Then we'll head back out to the ship as Captain NPC over there is ducking and diving. And then just as I get here, the docking port is opening up. That's a good sign. That says that it's connected itself to the ship. And we can make our way aboard. All aboard. And then the minute you're aboard, dumped into space. Dumped into space while not wearing a helmet. So, as the health very quickly depletes, my instant response to this, because I know I'm by the station, was exit to menu, and it should dump me into the station. So we'll see if that worked. Quick times 12 loading screen. And it has worked. I'm back on Everest Harbour with 47% hit points, having fallen out of the ship, I suppose. Not something I can explain. We'll put the helmet back on, I think. So that was a curious little challenge. To remedy the situation, we'll go and fix ourselves up. I quite like these little medical terminals. They're one of the few things in-game that shows your actual in-game name. So for me, it pops up and says, "Hi, Thomas Forrester." Most of the other things just show, I think, is it your handle? I don't know, I think there's 2 or 3 different name systems used for Star Citizen. But there, top right, Thomas Forrester, that's what I like to see in-game. Alright, healed back up to 100%. We'll head back and try again. Incidentally, as I'm experiencing these different things, I'm very open-minded to the possibility that I've done something wrong. So you can feel free to let me know in the comments if you think you've got a different solution or suggestion. Docking port 1 for the Hull C again. For my part, I feel like it should be easier than this, but I'm quite willing to accept culpability on my own part if needs be. If I've messed up, you can let me know. Equally, if you think it's just the game being buggy, you can let me know that as well. I could use that validation. So this time around, we've got a closed docking port. You can see the Hull C on the other side of it, but the docking port has not extended to connect to it. So here's another fun little bug for those who run the Hull C from time to time. Quick check that it's not opening. It's not. So first thing to try, heading back to the lobby. And here I've got some people running around again, which again makes me nervous for this little Hull C that's worth 1.4 million of USC at the moment. So first thing to try, store the ship. I didn't really need to go to a different console, but store and retrieve the ship. I think I just didn't really want people looking over my shoulder at what I was doing. People armed to the teeth with all sorts of weapons. So back to docking port 1. Let's see if it's all connected up this time. The door's shut, it's not looking good. No, it's not happening. So this is workaround number 2, which is to head to one of the landing pads and use the landing pad to float across to the ship. It's not a quick solution, but it is a solution. So what I'm doing is I'm just switching between landing pads 1 through 4 and looking at the distance to docking port 1 on the heads-up display. So I'm looking for the pad that has the shortest distance to make the jump. Could well have been that one. Pad 2 at just over 5,000 meters. Pad 3 is definitely further away. I'll try pad 4. It would have been pad 2, but I can't be bothered to have another elevator trip, so we're going to jump out at pad 4 and float across. So it's as simple as run to the edge of the pad, jump into space, point in the right direction, ideally wearing your helmet this time, and then start floating across to the docking ports. This is a very slow journey. This is times 12 speed, believe it or not. The total time it took to EVA across was 13 minutes and 48 seconds. So don't worry, the times 12 speed reduces that significantly, but just to show that some of these challenges, if you can't get aboard the ship and you don't want to sacrifice that cargo that you've already paid for, 13 minutes and 48 seconds of EVA time. That's dedication, right? Dedication, or perhaps stupidity on my part. We shall see. Quite a nice view of the different clouds of Hurston below as well. And again, 10 years ago, thinking about, I was not 10 years old 10 years ago, by the way, but thinking about this 10 years ago, this is still quite an exceptionally impressive experience. I mean, not so much falling out of the docking port, but being able to EVA across to your ship, which is berthed next to the station. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So here we are, made it finally after 40 minutes, hop aboard. Am I ejected into space? Am I not? Am I aboard the ship? The ship is slowly spawning around me. There we are, we're aboard. Thank goodness. 40 minutes to get aboard. And then make our way up to the pilot's chair. Well, that was an ordeal. And then getting into the pilot's chair, ejected into space. Just can't win. And now it's in this strange condition where it's kind of like flitting between two character states. So I'm trying the different tricks that I know at this point. Sometimes switching to F4 external view can help just force it to remember what's going on and where you are. I'm also willing to accept at this point that it might be a weird server, and there might be some kind of server related issues. But I have no control of the character at all here. Absolutely no control. So at this point, I'm beginning to accept that perhaps this cargo run is not going to happen today, and it might be better to let the server sleep on the situation and approach again in future. So you may well see the Hull C cargo trading video happen at a future session, but it's not going to be today. This one was a little different, but if you found this video interesting, pressing the like button will let me know I should make more like this, hopefully not, and if you're not yet subscribed, given that you got this far, you probably want to do that too, so that YouTube will know to show you more videos like this in future. Otherwise, and as always, thank you for watching.